She seems really upbeat, really happy, only days after her husband was assassinated. That looks like smiles. That looks like laughing and happiness and joy. So many people notice this. Erika was laughing right after her husband was assassinated. Now, I'm not saying she's celebrating. I'm saying it's weird.
Look at this. This is Erika Kirk. She's smiling, laughing, and flashing that Medal of Freedom like she just won the lottery. People who saw the footage couldn't believe it. They said something about her energy felt off, almost eerie. And when body language experts stepped in to study those same clips, what they found was downright chilling. So here's the question burning through every comment section right now. Is this how a widow acts after her husband gets taken out in cold blood, or is there something way darker happening behind the curtain? Keep watching, because what you're about to see might just flip everything you thought you knew upside down. Now, Charlie Kirk wasn't some random guy. He was a major name in conservative circles, founder of Turning Point USA, always out there debating people on college campuses and stirring up the crowd. Whether you loved him or couldn't stand him, you couldn't ignore him. His presence was loud, powerful, and constant. But here's where things start to get weird, really weird. Just days after his passing, Erika Kirk appeared on camera looking calm.
Love you, Erika. Charlie, 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 Charlie. Love you, Erika. Charlie, Charlie, Charlie.
Too calm. And listen, nobody's here to judge how someone grieves. Everyone handles pain differently, right? But when you watch these clips, it's impossible not to feel that something's off. The tone, the posture, the little smiles, they just don't sit right. And it's not just online sleuths saying that. Joe Rogan himself, known for cutting through fake stories, jumped into the conversation. On his podcast, Rogan didn't hold back. He broke down the whole situation, the shooting, the suspect, and all the bizarre inconsistencies that made no sense at all. He said straight up, none of this adds up. But the part that really lit the internet on fire, multiple body language experts ran deep analysis, frame by frame, gesture by gesture, and their conclusions are sending shivers down everyone's spine. What they uncovered is straight up unsettling, and we're breaking it all down right here. No fluff, just the heavy hits. We're talking Joe Rogan's hard questioning of how this case is being handled, expert reads on Erika's micro-expressions, and side-by-side looks at how real widows move in public. No wonder the internet slapped her with the nickname The Happy Widow. Trust me.
This is very much a real smile. The way that the eyes wrinkle, the way that the corners of the mouth go up, that all matches what would be a legitimate smile. So when people are saying, is she acting? Not right here, she isn't. That seems to be actual. She actually feels good right there.
You'll want every second of this breakdown, but first we have to lock in the basics of what happened to Charlie Kirk, because the deeper you look, the stranger this timeline feels. The context matters, and once you see the sequence of events, the vibes around Erika's appearances get even more confusing. Now here's where Joe Rogan steps in, and his read on this situation is no lightweight take. He isn't skimming headlines, he's digging into the weird details, poking holes where things don't line up, and calling out what flat out looks off. He flags the older guy who popped up at the scene yelling, "I did it! I did it!" then pulled his pants down. Wild behavior that, as Joe notes, conveniently makes a real interview almost impossible, because now the story becomes about his behavior, not his answers. Joe's point lands hard. What are the odds the same person keeps appearing around key moments, and why does the narrative always shift right when tough questions should be asked? Then it ramps up, because the official line names a 21-year-old as the attacker, supposedly using his grandfather's World War I rifle with no serial number, a relic he allegedly disassembled, stuffed into a backpack, hauled up to a rooftop, reassembled, and fired with precision.
A way that always keeps Charlie first and his dreams alive and his legacy.
And then afterwards she says keeps his dreams alive. When she raised her eyebrows, she wants you to understand she is planning on keeping his dreams alive. That's something she's actually feeling as she's talking about it. Because when we raise our eyebrows, it brings attention to our face, and that's what she's focused on. You have to think so much of this is unconscious. So it's not like if she's trying to perform in some way that she could fake all of these things. What she's saying right now really does seem to be tied into how she's feeling.
First, and his dreams.
That's a lot of steps for anyone, let alone someone without serious training. Joe presses the logistics. How did he even get to the roof without being clocked by security or cameras, especially with a clear line of sight from the stage to those buildings? No rooftop sweeps, no drones, no watch on access points? How does that happen at a high-profile public event with a known public figure on stage? And it gets even wilder. The story claims he fired, then dropped 14 feet from the roof and bounced without blowing the timeline to pieces. That kind of move would leave marks, injuries, or at least witnesses who'd remember more than a blur, right? Here's where Joe's experience around firearms kicks in, because he actually knows gear, mechanics, and handling. He breaks down why this rifle narrative sounds shaky, explaining that you'd need specific tools like Allen wrenches and legit gunsmith gear. And even then, disassembling and reassembling an old school rifle is not a quick, casual task for a beginner. Even for skilled hands, we're talking delicate work, careful torque, and time, lots of it. Put together, his questions don't scream conspiracy, they scream slow down and prove it, which is exactly why this case has the whole internet on edge.
We will have consistency. The members.
So we will have consistency. She really wants people to understand this. And that's what's interesting and what's different about when she's talking about this relative to some of what she's talked about before. So we're seeing a difference in body language here and what we saw at the beginning. At the beginning, she was connecting with the other people in the room, sharing stories, talking about Charlie, feeling good. Now she's talking about continuing the legacy of Turning Point USA and the Charlie Kirk show. There is an intensity here. I think this is something she feels very strongly about. And so you're not seeing the smiles and the warmth in the same way at this point. And that's not being critical. I think that's just a difference in how intense she is and how serious she is about what it is that she's doing.
And then comes the biggest question of all. How did this kid even get on that roof in the first place? No security detail, no rooftop patrols, no drones in the air, a direct line of sight to the stage, and somehow nobody noticed a thing? Come on. Joe Rogan didn't sugarcoat it. He flat out said, "This story is bullshit." None of these details make sense to me. And when you hear him break it all down piece by piece, you start realizing, yeah, something's seriously wrong with this so-called official version. Joe even made a sharp point. If you wanted to make the public lose faith in justice, this is exactly how you do it. You flood the story with random weird details until it feels like chaos. You throw in an old man screaming, "I did it," with his pants down, a runaway suspect hiding in the woods, and a kid with a suspicious past suddenly framed as the perfect villain. It's confusion overload, like someone wants people to give up trying to make sense of it.
Our Turning Point USA family, but I want you guys all to see the Medal of Freedom and be able to look at it in the back of it. You guys are all part of the legacy. And then on the back, it's the first and last time they'll put a cross on it.
But while all that madness was spinning online, there was another piece of the puzzle grabbing people's attention fast: Erika Kirk herself. Now picture this. Your spouse just got gunned down in front of a live crowd. Days ago, most people would be broken, quiet, barely able to breathe. You wouldn't want cameras in your face, right? But Erika? She walked right into Turning Point USA headquarters just a few days later, smiling, radiant, even energetic. The clip that started it all shows her talking to the staff, holding up Charlie's Medal of Freedom, laughing softly, and calling everyone part of his legacy. Her tone, upbeat, her energy, almost celebratory. It was like she was presenting an award, not mourning her husband, and that's where the internet completely lost it. Now sure, everyone grieves differently. Some people shut down, others stay busy to cope. But when you line her demeanor up against how most widows act mere days after such a tragedy, the difference hits hard. It's jarring. One viral comment summed up what millions were thinking. Everyone grieves differently, but no one grieves like her. That line blew up, shared, quoted, remixed in clips, reaction videos, and even podcasts. But it didn't stop there, because more footage surfaced. And when people started putting all the videos side by side, the picture that formed didn't quiet the doubts, it amplified them. Another clip showed Erika arriving at an event, this time appearing teary, wiping her face and looking somber.
I'm just gonna say it, Erika Kirk's behavior is unsettling as fuck. It's not conveying real grief, it's conveying performance. It's giving uncanny valley. Like, this woman came out on stage to pyrotechnics, timing her body language and her crying to the music. Then she gives a speech that comes off as more of a piece of performance art than it does as an expression of real grief. And when you look at that woman's face, there is not a single tear streaming down that woman's face. There is not a single smudge of makeup out of place. She's making it look like she's crying, but she's not really crying. So yeah, the whole thing is unsettling as fuck.
But online detectives weren't buying it. They watched frame by frame and started comparing facial movements, tone, even hand gestures. Watch her face, one user wrote. Look closely at how she breathes, how her eyes move. Does that look like real grief or staged emotion? Within hours, the clip was everywhere. Twitter threads, TikTok duets, YouTube breakdowns. Comments flooded in calling it bad acting, fake crying, and even Oscar-level performance. Harsh? Maybe. But once you see the footage yourself, you start feeling that gut-level unease too. Something about it just doesn't sit right. And this wasn't coming from random trolls either. Some viewers who had lost loved ones themselves said they instantly noticed a mismatch between her expressions and her words. Her sadness looked rehearsed. The tears didn't seem to flow naturally. It was like her face couldn't quite decide which emotion to show next. Even seasoned commentators said they felt uncomfortable watching it, because no matter how you spin it, when grief looks polished, when heartbreak feels like a performance,
And a guy wrote,
it sends chills down your spine. It wasn't about attacking Erika, it was about the vibe, that uncanny sense that you're watching something real and unreal at the same time. People didn't need to be experts to sense it, they just felt it. Something deep down saying, this isn't right. But hey, let's be fair here. Maybe we've all got it wrong. Maybe this is just how Erika deals with loss. Everyone grieves differently, right? So to keep it real, let's put things in perspective and see how genuine grief usually shows itself. Because before judging Erika's behavior, we need to understand what real heartbreak looks like. Remember when Kobe Bryant passed? His wife, Vanessa Bryant, lost not only her husband, but also their daughter in that tragic helicopter crash. It was a pain the world could feel, a moment that broke hearts everywhere. Vanessa didn't rush to cameras, didn't smile for the crowd, didn't talk about what's next. She stayed private for a while, and when she did appear publicly, the weight of that loss was written all over her face. You could see it in her trembling voice, her tired eyes, that kind of deep pain that no performance could ever fake. Now look at this side-by-side comparison. On one side, you have Vanessa, barely keeping it together, holding on by sheer strength, her sadness almost too heavy to watch. And on the other, Erika Kirk, smiling, gesturing, talking about amazing projects and bright futures like she's at a company retreat, not mourning her husband's death. The difference hits like a punch. It's shocking. That's exactly when the internet coined the name that stuck, the happy widow. It sounds brutal, sure, but when people saw the clips side by side, they couldn't unsee it. The contrast was too sharp, too unnatural. One woman radiated heartbreak, the other radiated enthusiasm, and people didn't know how to process that. And here's the key thing. Nobody's saying grief has one look. People cope in all kinds of ways. Some shut down completely, others dive into work or spirituality. But there's a big difference between grieving differently and not showing grief at all. That's the detail that's bothering everyone. It's not just that Erika seems composed, it's that she seems happy. Happy when the wound should still be open. Energized when the world expects numbness. Ready to move forward when most would still be reeling from loss. That's why people keep rewatching her footage in disbelief. It's not about hate, it's about confusion. Because when something feels off, your gut knows it. And that's exactly what set up the next shocking twist, the part that made everyone's jaws drop. After Charlie's death, someone had to step up and lead Turning Point USA, and that someone was Erika Kirk. Now, that's no small thing. Taking over your late husband's empire should be a moment filled with weight, emotion, even hesitation. But the way Erika handled it, it didn't come off heavy, it came off hyped. Listen to her tone in the clips. She's talking about hosting the show, about carrying on Charlie's mission, and instead of quiet reflection, there's this spark in her voice. She's upbeat, lively, and at one point she literally says, "I'm excited." It's weird to say excited. And people online couldn't believe it because, yeah, Erika, it is strange to sound excited when the only reason you're in that seat is because your husband's gone. She keeps going, talking about how blessed they are, how there's more work than we could ever dream of, and how amazing things are coming down the pipeline. Every sentence feels like a sales pitch, not a statement of mourning. The vibe is pure optimism, like she's launching a new startup instead of stepping into the shadow of tragedy. TikTok caught it instantly. Users started posting side-by-side edits showing her energy and tone, breaking down her word choices, her bright expressions, and her body language. The comment sections lit up with people saying the same thing. This doesn't look like grief. This looks like a promotion. Some even compared her delivery to a motivational influencer. Cheerful, rehearsed, totally detached from the gravity of what just happened. And then it got even stranger. In another clip, Erika says something that made everyone pause. She talks about how she plans to keep using Charlie's social media accounts to keep his voice alive, she says. On paper, that sounds sweet, even touching, like she's honoring his legacy, but online, people couldn't help asking, why? Was it really about tribute, or was it about control? Because keeping his pages active meant she'd control his image, his words, and his audience, all from behind the same profile that once belonged to him. The tone she used while talking about it didn't help either. It wasn't tearful or nostalgic. It was proud, confident, even cheerful. It left viewers divided, half saying she's a strong woman continuing her husband's dream, and the other half wondering if she's treating his passing like a business rebrand. Whatever the truth, one thing's for sure. Her energy didn't match the moment, and that's exactly why the internet couldn't stop watching. But here's where it gets tricky. People online started asking the uncomfortable question, is it really honoring someone's memory to post as them after they're gone? Or does it cross that weird line into something unsettling? Some called it touching, others said it was creepy and tone deaf. So the debate was on. And that's when actual experts stepped in to weigh the truth. At this stage, public suspicion was sky high, but suspicion alone isn't proof. The internet wanted professional eyes on Erika's every move, someone trained to read the small stuff the rest of us miss. And that's when Dr. G, a well-known body language specialist, entered the chat. Dr. G went deep, analyzing hours of Erika's interviews, live streams, and public appearances frame by frame. What she found was nothing short of fascinating. First, she identified something called a Duchenne smile, a genuine expression you can't fake no matter how good an actor you are. It's when both the mouth and the eyes join in. The corners of the eyes wrinkle slightly, the cheeks rise naturally, and the joy shows through every feature. It's the smile of someone who's truly happy. And Dr. G spotted that very same smile lighting up Erika's face, not when she talked about loss or pain, but when she discussed taking over Charlie's projects, his legacy, and continuing his dream. Think about that. Just days after losing her husband, she was radiating real, uncontrollable joy while talking about his organization. That's not typical grief, it's something else entirely. Dr. G emphasized that this isn't the kind of smile you use to mask sadness. It's the kind your body produces when your emotions match your words, which means Erika wasn't pretending. Her positivity in those moments was genuine. That's what made everyone freeze, because authentic happiness and fresh grief aren't supposed to coexist like that. It's emotionally contradictory. But that wasn't all Dr. G found. She noted a major shift when Erika started talking about the show's future. The tone changed, her posture straightened, her eyes narrowed, and her voice grew firm. Gone was the light, cheerful tone. Suddenly she looked laser-focused, like a CEO about to launch something big. Dr. G explained that this body language showed conviction and control. Erika wasn't just repeating a speech, she was owning it. Her gestures were deliberate, her voice steady, her eyes locked onto the camera as if she was addressing an audience she intended to lead. The analysis painted a strange picture, one that made people pause. Erika didn't look broken, lost, or numb like most new widows. She looked driven, strategic, and ready to move forward fast. Dr. G said this kind of shift is rare, especially so soon after tragedy. It suggested Erika wasn't processing the situation emotionally like others might. Instead, she seemed to be slipping right into leadership mode, prioritizing structure and visibility over personal healing. And that's what left the audience torn. Was this strength or suppression? Was she honoring Charlie's mission or replacing it with her own? Whatever the case, it became clear her reactions weren't following any normal grief pattern anyone could recognize. Most people in that kind of heartbreak are just trying to survive the next 5 minutes without breaking down completely. But Erika, she's mapping out business moves, setting goals, and strategizing like a CEO in crisis mode. Dr. G's analysis confirmed what millions online already suspected. Erika's behavior didn't match the emotional reality of genuine grief. It looked planned, not pained. But hold on, because it gets even darker. Another professional body language expert came forward to examine Erika's interviews, and what they found took the discussion to a whole new level of unsettling. This second expert focused on one specific clip that made everyone's skin crawl. It was the moment Erika casually talked about tweeting from Charlie's old account as him posting new messages as though he were still here. She said she wanted to keep his voice alive, but the expert said what that really shows is something far more troubling, a deep emotional disconnect from the reality of loss. According to the analysis, when people lose someone they love, especially to violence, they usually protect that person's memory. They preserve it. They want to freeze time, not extend it with new content pretending to be their voice. It's sacred. off limits. But Erika, she sounded thrilled about it, smiling, energetic, talking about it like it was an exciting project launch rather than a solemn tribute. The expert said this behavior points to a focus not on grief, but on brand management, that her actions seemed driven by maintaining Charlie's influence and audience rather than mourning the man himself. In plain words, it was as if Erika was treating Charlie's legacy like a marketing asset instead of a memory. And once you hear it described that way, it hits hard, it is disturbing. Still, even expert opinions can only go so far. People wanted evidence, something visual, something that shows the disconnect. And that's when the internet did what it always does best. It dug deeper. A TikTok user, someone with a sharp eye for detail, uploaded what might be the most chilling breakdown yet. They slowed down Erika's public appearances frame by frame, highlighting every gesture, every smirk, every micro expression, and titled their post, "Why Erika's Behavior Feels So Unsettling." The moment that video dropped, it exploded. Viewers couldn't look away. Because once you see what the creator points out, you really can't unsee it. They began by showing Erika walking out on stage at one of the memorial events. Not quietly, not solemnly, but with pyrotechnics. Actual fireworks bursting behind her while upbeat dramatic music played. It looked more like a product launch or political rally than a remembrance of a man who'd just been killed. The TikTok analyst froze the clip at key moments, zooming in on her expressions, her confident walk, her beaming smile, her wave to the cheering crowd. Then they asked the same haunting question thousands were thinking, does this look like grief to you? In slow motion, you could see it. No hesitation, no tremble, no trace of emotional strain. Her eyes didn't glisten, her jaw didn't tighten. It wasn't the face of someone fighting back tears. It was the face of someone owning the moment. The TikTok user called it a masterclass in emotional dissonance, saying it felt like Erika was performing a role, one that didn't match the moment at all. That one clip reignited every doubt, every theory, every late-night comment thread across social media. Because whether you believe she's grieving her way or hiding something deeper, one thing became impossible to deny. Her version of mourning didn't look like anyone else's. Maybe the pyrotechnics weren't her choice, maybe the organizers planned it, but what came next? That's what made people stop cold. When Erika was crying on stage, not a single tear actually fell. Not one. Her makeup stayed perfect, her face untouched. She made the expressions, the sobbing sounds, but the emotion wasn't there. Viewers said it looked rehearsed, like she was acting out grief, not feeling it. The TikTok analyst even slowed it down. When the music swelled, she hid her face. When it softened, she looked up dramatically. It was timed, choreographed. Sure, maybe she'd cried herself dry before, but after all her smiling, excited speeches, and upbeat tone, this dry crying only made things feel stranger. Thousands commented the same thing. This feels fake. This feels staged. By now, the internet had built a full case. Expert breakdowns, side-by-side comparisons, and frame-by-frame clips, all suggesting something didn't add up. But Joe Rogan, he saw something even bigger. He said Erika's behavior might just be one piece of a much deeper mess surrounding Charlie Kirk's death. He explained how powerful people manipulate truth by flooding the story with confusion. You mix in random witnesses, conflicting reports, and chaos until nobody can tell what's real. And maybe that's exactly what's happening here. Joe didn't give a clean answer. He just laid out the puzzle and left the rest to us. So what do you think? Is Erika just grieving in her own strange way? Is she in shock? Or is there something darker behind her calm face? Whatever the truth, one thing's certain, something about her doesn't sit right. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you on the next one.